FNAF Fan Games. There are, well, hundreds of them. Every single one of them giving their take on either FNAF or the FNAF genre. But there being so many that it's kind of hard to keep track. But as you all know, not every single game is made by the best people, or have controversies surrounding them that impact how people view and experience one of these games. Some notable examples being that of One Night at Flumpty's, the very popular series that was made by Jonah Chrome, in which he was outed for being in a romantic relationship with a minor. And of course, there's the Dormitibus situation, and the creator Blackout, who not only included his insanely creepy fantasies in this game, but also there were messages exposing that he had, well, groomed a minor as well. It's people like this who are some of the most egregious examples, but there are more. But as I was making my way through different social media platforms and game publishing sites like GameJolt, I found the same game's name coming up again and again. A FNAF fan game that people claim to be controversial, but also had a lot of mystery surrounding it. It's called Madisons Room, and its predecessor, It's Cold Out Tonight, in which both games had been completely taken off GameJolt and had disappeared completely out of the blue, with almost no reasoning for how and why. Until a year ago, when the games were both re-uploaded along with all the other games made by the creator by someone else, with allegations of grooming among other things being the reason. But these claims were not made about the creator of the games, rather they were towards someone they were closely involved with, which I'll come back to later in the video. But this directly affected what was in the game, and causing these FNAF fan games themselves to showcase some bizarre and uncomfortable stuff. We'll have to go back to the beginning to understand what exactly happened here. Let's start with It's Cold Out Tonight, releasing all the way back in 2016. Now, to say these games are obviously low budget and made by people who were younger is obvious. But the title screen shows us the snowman animatronic in the background, which is the animatronic Blizzard, aka the main animatronic. But in the game, there are a total of 5 actual animatronics, with there being Pistachio the rabbit, Swimmin the water droplet, Pinky the pink water droplet, and Wireframe, along with one main other one that really isn't in the Nights but in the free roam section of the games, aka Shadow Blizzard, which is just a black and white version of Blizzard that is more like a PNG that jump scares you. The game starts off and you're given a screen with an article/advertisement. It says, "Today is such a cold day. People are building snow forts and other things that we do in the winter. Speaking of the cold, a new place opened up known as Blizzard's Chilly Castle, which is a great place to go if you want to have more fun. The area it's built under is the original location that had a bear animatronic known as Freddy Fans, to see if this new place can top the original. We are not responsible for any accidental deaths. We pay $700 a week," with a phone number attached. Following this, we get a computer screen where it scans the computer and it says "Found virus" before exiting out the window, and you'll start with you being in a free roam section in which you gather little collectibles, and at the same time you have to try and avoid Shadow Blizzard. But the only real mechanic of this is to find shiny little objects in each room, and you can look around every room ever so slightly, while at the same time you toggle the left and right panels to move from room to room. This section only lasting a little while at the same time there's a fast moving timer that you have to get to 0 to survive. But if you die to Shadow Blizzard, you have to start all over. If you complete this part, you can move into the actual night. It's Cold Out Tonight features a total of 8 nights in its game, with the main mechanics of the game being that you have to turn off the alarms and interact with the temperature of the room in order for it to not get too hot, a laser door to keep Lizard and Pinky away. Along with this, there are 2 vents where Pistachio and Swimmin attack from. This game obviously has cameras which kind of work, and a room space with wireframe that you use the flashlight to deter him. All run-of-the-mill FNAF mechanics. Not to say it was easy or anything, with me struggling quite a bit to have the game function properly, with this mainly made by junior developers it seems. But of course, from searching around, it turns out this game was kind of never really finished and doesn't function how it's supposed to. The only thing that really works are the jump scares themselves, which I'm about to get into. Because some of the ideas and jump scares in this game are weird. Mainly with the 2 water droplet characters, Swimmin and Pinky. Let me show you what Swimmin's jump scare looks like. so they kind of just jump in your face before pressing their animatronic chest in your face. And I guess you're maybe suffocated by that. It's, to say at the least, weird. Especially for a FNAF game that was supposed to be made by a kid. But the character Pinky is also just as weird, with them apparently supposed to be a stripper animatronic. And they use a steel stripper pole as the weapon they use in their jump scare. With both of these characters sharing what is supposed to be the show stage of the entertainment establishment. Which raises a lot of questions on what exactly this place is supposed to be, because it's definitely not a pizza place or an ice cream place. It almost seems like an animatronic strip club, and lore-wise, I don't even know how to explain that. To say this game is weird in an uncanny and oddly sexual way is an understatement. Especially with the knowledge that this was made by someone who was underage. With the videos of this game getting quite a bit of views and people in the comments obviously questioning what the heck they just saw. But from what we can gather online and the gameplay available from back when this game initially released, we can see what did function, as well as some images that were pretty odd. There are some renders of the characters with Pistachio saying, "Be scared," and Blizzard saying, "Stay cool." But then we see Swimmin's poster, which, as you can see, says, "Be wet," with a winking and smiling face. There's a functioning sleep meter, which I'm not too sure who that interacts with, and this game also has an extras menu where you can see all of the characters and their jump scares, which are all done pretty well. But even then, this game does have a lot of weird stuff in it. But this game isn't the worst of it. Following the release of It's Cold Out Tonight, we would get another game by the creator, aka Madisons Room, releasing originally in January of 2017. With the description of this game before it was taken off Game Jolt being, you play as someone who lives in a big house and has a mental illness. You'll learn about your character as you progress and find the secrets that lie within the game. There are not one but two endings of this game. When booting up the game, it starts with this cutscene.
Do you want to know what happened? Do you want to know why their views of us changed?
With the animatronic or toy saying, "Do you know what happened? Do you want to know why their views of us change?" Which I can guess what this is alluding to based on the information I will discuss after going more into this game. The game throws us onto the starting menu with the same character we saw from before. This animatronic or toy looking, well, odd, with it seeming very human-esque, or a crudely made version of what would be a human, with these creepy eyes bulging from the character. When starting a new game, we get this. We get a look at one of the characters being Corey. He says, "Do you know where we are? Inside a box? What happened to the others? I'm full of fear." He smiles and says, "You know a way out of this mess? Great. I trust you. It's over there? Great. See you later." We are then thrown into night one with more instructions stating, you must hang up or answer the phone in order to access your phone's dialer. You can call if you want to listen to the phone call again, or if you want to scare away Corey. You double click to exit your phone's dial pad and click once to enter it. Call 1111 if you want to listen to the phone call again. Good luck. We are thrown into a room and it's pretty dark. There are a couple of mechanics, with there being a phone to pick up and listen to a call that gives us instructions on how to deal with the various characters. You can hang up the phone call and call it right back to scare away Corey. We can also turn on the lights, which we get a better view of the room around us. We can see a drawing of Corey upside down, a Nightmare Fredbear head by the door, and a calendar with the year 2017. Along this, we can see a photo of some girl. Who this is unknown, but the only person I can think of is Madison, but maybe not. Turning on the lights allows us to access the security camera panel, with camera 1 showing us a camera of outside the room through the window. Camera 2 says it was taken down by the federal government because of crime scenes and certain incidents with audio only. But from footage from 2017, we can see the cameras working, which might only be in the later nights. Then there is a ping pong game where if you score 20 or higher, you can skip the night. But if you mess up the game, it'll not let you skip the night and disappear forever. Then there's a map of the house with where you're located in the bedroom, a closet area of some sort where Madison is coming from, or at least I think is Madison, if not then they are Rachel. But I believe the other figure we saw, which is the girl doll or something, is Rachel, which is also where Corey is. On this page, you can also have the option to run to the classic music box and wind it up to slow down the movement of Madison from the closet. And to keep Rachel at bay, you have to stare at camera 3 where they will appear. And if you do not, they will run towards you. If you turn off the lights in the room, you can see Madison if you press the turn around button, and you can see her walking towards you. This is where I found out that this game is pretty much non-functional anymore, unless you have some type of exploit. I was not able to get past night 1 in this re-upload of the game because the music box itself does not function as intended, with it not winding to keep Madison slowed down or back from killing you. She will get to you no matter what. In older footage of the game, and there really is only one recording of this game on YouTube, you can see it working as intended. But from the footage that there is available, you can see there's a 4th animatronic / toy being this orange cat, and then there's another mode or night where you can take pictures in order to make characters disappear and survive the night. There's also a 5th character being this thing, which I don't even know what this is, but it's pretty creepy. And from old footage of the game, you can see lots of other things that were working as intended, which I don't blame the person who re-uploaded this, because this is a re-upload. And it's been years since any of these games have been messed with or tweaked in any way. But the functions of the game that did work at the time were things like the character screen, along with the custom nights with all 5 characters, different difficulties with star ratings, a cheat screen, and a more characters page, which shows that this game could have been beaten. And while playing the game, you can see another meter in the top left-hand corner that will change, which I'm not really sure what that indicates. And in this game, you only have to make it to 3 AM rather than the usual 6 AM, but the nights are still pretty long. You can also see when it hits 6 AM in the photo taking mode, it will rain dolls of the Rachel character. And finally, there's a code input minigame where you can input numbers for something, possibly one of the secret endings or a secret minigame. So, what is so weird and gross about this game? Well, for example, the Madison character is wearing some pretty suggestive clothing with it being this black underwear. But of course, with the game not working that well right now, there's really not too much information about the specific content or events within the game due to a lot of it not being easily accessible, except for the people who have played the game firsthand or people who have actually worked on the game. But the main thing being, sometime after the release of this game, the creator Swordyswords189 would take down their entire Game Jolt page along with all their games, with pretty much no one knowing exactly what happened to them. And this would go on for some time until Jammer Sophie would re-upload all of Swordy's work for preservation's sake, and giving a little bit of context to what happened along with context from other people who played the game firsthand, mainly coming from the comment section on the Game Jolt pages, with it being uploaded and someone saying, "It's no longer lost media anymore," with Sophie responding, "Yes, the creator herself gave me the MFA and I got one of my friends to convert it to an EXE." And on the Swordysword189 Archive, they would get a comment asking, "Why did the games get taken down?" With Sophie responding, "From what I know, she was going through something and was deleting all the Game Jolt pages of her games, and it became lost media for a while." The other person follows up, "Also, why is Madison's Room so hated?" Sophie replying, "Because Madison herself is a groomer. She's Swordy's ex-girlfriend." And on the actual Madison's Room re-upload page, someone would comment, "What's wrong with this game? I'm too lazy to download it and see for myself right now." With Sophie responding, "The main character Madison is basically a self-insert of the creator's ex-girlfriend who groomed them. This was around 2017. Someone else would comment on the page saying, "Knowing the context, this game is something you would see in a creepypasta or horror movie. Disgusting she ever got this far, but glad she never met up with the dev IRL." And going to Reddit, someone replied to a post featuring Madison's Room at the bottom of FNAF Fan Game Iceberg, saying that Madison, aka Little Miss Springtrap on DeviantArt, was the one who would be the culprit of all this. Which as of now, that handle isn't on DeviantArt. Digging more, it was also alleged that this person was also the one who forced the creator of these games to include sexual themes like Swimmin's jump scare, the one from It's Cold Out Tonight, in their game. There's also some conflicting information out there in regards to what happened here with the FNAF Fan Game wiki, saying that the main developer was Nanny Bunny and that they were the victim of Madison. Which I don't know if Nanny Bunny is Swordy, and if it's not, that info is not really clear, but I believe these are different people, with Nanny Bunny seeming to be a completely different person working on their own games and such. But along with the games re-uploaded, there were also a great deal of games made by Swordy that were also re-uploaded to the Swordyswords189 Archive on GameJolt, with After Tasting Lies, Bring Back Entertainment, Maddie Invaders, Mysteries of Woodland, Swimmin' of the Seas, as well as some of the newer games that were not released, like Organized Office 2, Freddy SFG, and Eternal Mind Computer. A lot of these are FNAF similar games, but also just some other games that they had worked on as well, with all of them having their own unique type of story and gameplay. And Sophie made it clear that these are MFAs, and they do not want anyone to reskin them or steal code from them, and that it would be completely disrespectful, which I agree. These games are preservation of the work of Swordy, and they should not be messed with. I also think that they are a preservation of FNAF games releasing back in 2016, and are kind of like a time capsule, especially with how the style of the games look and how they look pretty old, almost like classic FNAF in some sort of way. But Swordy has already been through enough, and they don't need people messing with their work and tarnishing it or harassing any of the people that helped re-upload these games. These games were the way they dealt with their trauma, and the game should be experienced as a piece of art and preserved works. Doing anything to mess with these games and to try and ruin them would be very disrespectful and kind of evil. But I also appreciate how Jammer Sophie went out of their way to try and remake the original It's Cold Out Tonight, with It's Cold Out Tonight Refrozen, with a whole new look and everything almost being revamped, with them having a whole new team behind them, in which they give more context to the story, or possibly just remade the story with, it's been 5 years since the closure of Blizzard's Chili Castle. You're an ex-employee named Linda Marin, investigating the Blizzard's birthday massacre, and were rehired as a facility technician at Blizzard's Chili Castle. All you must do is repair stuff within the building, stay from 12 to 6 a.m., and most importantly, survive. But unfortunately, the game was cancelled due to it taking a toll on Sophie's mental health. But there was a free roam beta that was released for the game, with an all-new opening screen with animatronics and characters with 2D animations for the game. When you start the game, you can only go through 2 rooms, with you only being able to move between a party room and a hallway, and a 2D spray of what looks like Shadow Blizzard following you around. But I like the dedication that they had to remake and try and keep the memory alive of the original game. It shows how much this team and these people really cared about Swordy and the work that they had tried to do. So from what we can gather from these games, with only so much information available, that these FNAF fan games that include the suggestive themes and materials were due to the creator being groomed and manipulated by an evil person, aka Madison. And from what information is available about the Madisons Room game, is that if you were able to get through before, when it was in a more functional state, there would be information alluding to this Madison person's actions. And like how we have seen before with the Pirate Boy, this game was used to cope and deal with the trauma of dealing with people who are older and should know better. Instead, they do horrible actions for their own sick pleasure. From what I can tell, I was not able to find any traces of Madison on the internet as of now, which I hope they are not popping up anywhere else under any other aliases. But I'm going to ask that you guys do not go searching for this person, as well as searching for Swordy, who seems to be not active on the internet anymore. And I can only hope for the best for Swordy and their future endeavors. And I wanted to thank Jammer Sophie for re-uploading these works and giving them to the public for those who would like to experience these games. I will be linking all the GameJolt pages in the description for those who want to check out these FNAF games. And if anyone has any information about the endings or the content within Madison's Room, please let me know in the comments so that people can get an understanding of what exactly happened within this game. And of course, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you later.